professor, I will test you in the worst way. Don't bring a Scantron, pop quizzes all day. Cause of our chemistry, we do biology.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail. Just bear with me. Blacks and whites are turning black and white. Now, I'm just using blacks and whites as a reference. That goes for Hispanics, Asians, Muslims, in America. But what I've seen in the past few years is, you know, black kids becoming, let's just go urban inner city kids who understood the racial dynamics of America, to suburban kids who, when I was a kid, you're like, yeah, you're being a little much, and they become the stereotype of a suburban white kid in various different ways. Not just the the quote unquote fake talking white thing. You see people's dress, the coloration of their hair, the piercings, you know the the rock star, rock vibe, gothic, you know, all over the place entitlement. So you see black kids turning into that. Black kids turning into silver spoon white kids with all of these issues. And then I've seen white kids basically try to prove how hard they are. You get what I'm saying? And not feeling like the underdog in a sense. And for some odd reason, I guess it's the first time because of the economy, inflation, of baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, cost of living, and everything. You see white kids who are having the mentality, I have to work twice as hard as the previous generations of white people to get half as much. So now they're kind of more. They're becoming more hardcore and rebellious to the idea of fairness in America, right? Whether you want to blame the liberal agenda or the blacks or the Mexicans, it's like, you know, they're the ones who really having a problem with America not being made great again for them. So now they're becoming more of the hood vibe. You see, just as much criminal activity from those guys as you see in the quote unquote stereotypical hood. It's just that they don't go to jail at the same rate. Um, and we've seen it with the school dynamic. Years ago, white men were the number one demographic to get a higher education, college degree, so on and so forth. And then it changed, and women of every race are usually the ones who are getting the most education in every racial group. Maybe not in the Asian group, but pretty much everybody else is pretty much predominantly women than the men. And the guys are getting into the workforce, and how can I say, this good old boy system is slowly collapsing. And you see how the economy works. So now what I'm seeing is this trade-off where I think BGS would call it admixture, where people, because of resources or lack thereof of resources, you know, it's more of a mixture like the beginning of Bacon's Rebellion, where you have poor whites and poor blacks becoming more friends, and poor whites and poor blacks actually dating, and the upper class and the middle class. Well, I say this: the middle class shrinking and the upper class separating from the shrinking middle class is creating more integration than I think people have seen in a very long, in pretty much all of America. And with that, you see black kids wanting more of the white freedoms and white kids wanting more of the black alpha aura that brings fear in the hearts of people, right? So you're seeing this push and pull of two segments who are flip flopping roles. I forgot the name of that movie with, I want to say Harry Belafonte and John Travolta, when the movie was basically the black community was the white community and the white community was the black community. They just reversed the roles. What you're seeing is kind of like the beginning of that, but people have this thing where when it gets too real, they try to bail out and go back to their original, let's just say, racial roles. You get so a black kid wants to, is going about the aspect of wanting to be white, and then they deal with racism, and then it's like, oh my God, I've never dealt with this before. It's like you're late to the party because because it didn't exist for you because you wanted to be quote unquote white. And then you got the white kids who want to be stereotypically want to have the black swag or understanding why black people have to get it out the mud in a certain way and the chances and risks we'll take, and then they'll take those same chances or take those same risks, and then they get smacked, with reality like we get smacked, and they go, oh, but I'm white. Come on now, give me a break. So this society is kind of it's becoming a hodgepodge of flip flopping and people experimenting with life, and I don't know how it's gonna end because to me it could be the hippie experience where the same people who was hippies and in the civil rights movement turned around and they were opposite of their quote unquote racist parents and then got older and became exactly them, and even and more so because I need to keep these resources. That was they had the early access to them. But I think the difference now is there's too much intermixing and integration. Like, in pretty much major metropolitan cities, you're seeing it. If the whites leave or the blacks leave or Hispanics leave or Asian leaves, whoever leaves, the other people mix. And you see the same thing. So it's not a necessarily black and white issue. But tell me what you think and what you seeing. Like, share, subscribe, or die. Try and catch you on the next one. Peace.
You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm gonna take you.